when they act like the evil one, we must respond like the loving one. One of the most famous and yet most difficult passages in the Bible is something Yeshua teaches us in Luke chapter 6, verses 27 to 29. He says, "But I say to you who are listening, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for the ones who mistreat you. To the one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from the one who takes your cloak, do not hold back your shirt." Right? It's a difficult passage because this is the passage that we try to explain away, or at least we try to give exception clauses to when we first read it. We'll say something like, well, if he hits you, turn the other cheek, but just once, and then let him have it. And in reality, we're operating with a mentality of, how can I obey the Lord and still get what I want, and still exact revenge? Where I honestly wrestle with this passage is that it can be misused to hold people hostage in ongoing emotionally, physically, and otherwise abusive relationships. But understand the Lord isn't calling us to live in perpetual abuse, but he is calling us to, in the face of abuse, to not abuse back. That when we're struck, we don't strike. When we're mistreated, we don't mistreat. When we are robbed, we don't justify robbing back. We don't become what they are. We don't pattern our responses after those whose actions are patterned after the evil one. Rather, when they act like the evil one, we respond like the loving one. And you may ask, how's that even possible? Is it even possible? I'll tell you, I'm not there yet. I'm far from there. This flesh is still alive. And I know that because if you strike my face, if you malign my name, if you lie about me or mistreat me or steal from me, there is something in me that desires to retaliate. But what I desire more is to become like Yeshua, to become like the one who revealed what I was truly intended to be like. And so I want to want what he wants. My desire, my quest is that I would be truly changed, truly transformed, so that my desire is to no longer desire what I now desire. I want to not think the way I now naturally think, to not be consumed with selfish things that consume me. I want to be willing to do what in reality I'm not naturally willing to do. I want to desire anew, to think anew, to become new. I want to become someone who, when you strike me, that in the depth of my being, I don't want to strike you back. That when you take from me, my heart breaks for where you're at, that you would need to do that. And that I love you more than that stuff. I want to come to the place where I don't have to grit my way through doing the right thing, but where it becomes increasingly natural to me because my nature is being transformed into what I was meant to be. Yeshua said, if anyone would follow after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross every day and follow me. To deny myself is to say no to self, and that's unnatural. Dallas Willard brilliantly writes, he says, being dead to self is the condition where the mere fact that I don't get what I want doesn't surprise me or offend me, and it has no control over me. Does the need to retaliate have control over you? Is revenge in your heart? Are you able to lay that down? Are you able to die to self in that way? Are you able to entrust yourself to the Father, to his care, to his justice? That thirst for retaliation is one of the most natural things that the self experiences. And the one who came to make us new is working in us to untrain us from those natural inclinations. So when Yeshua says, when someone strikes you on the one cheek, turn the other cheek. When he takes your sweater, give him your shirt too. Give to everyone who asks and demand nothing in return. For any of that to be able to begin to happen, we must have laid down the right, or better yet, laid down the burden to have our own way. When I strike back, when I retaliate, when the anger and the need to exact revenge hold me hostage, I'm not being like my Heavenly Father. I'm responding like the one that held me hostage. When I sit here and I try to figure out a way to be right with God while getting around being like him in the places where it's uncomfortable, in the areas where it really counts, then I'm not really dying to self. I'm being ruled by self. I'm being ruled by the toddler within me that still screams, mine. But if we will allow him to untrain us from our natural and distorted inclinations, to self-defend and to retaliate, to untrain us from the burden to have our way, then in that process, we're being made new. We're being retrained to love totally and selflessly, to love the unlovable, to be gracious and kind to the ungrateful, and to the most selfish of them all. We're being trained to love like the Father. And that's what I want. Isn't that what you want? I want when he sees me walking like him, loving like him, I want him to look and say, that's my kid. I want him to smile. Let's make him smile today.